Episode 20, we back in. You know what? We had to get this sports thing popping, and that's coming because that's the lifeblood. But then I said, if there's anybody out there that I know eats, breeds, lives sports, we had to go out and get the king of Riverside. Those are my words. He doesn't claim it, but the king of Riverside, California, Big Red. What's popping, baby?
What's going on, Donato? Great to be here, man. Thanks for having me.
Excited, dog. Excited. Yo, we're going to get right back. We're just going to get right into it and give them what they want. First thing I want to talk to you about, Big Red, is Candace Parker. Candace Parker may have to go down as like the greatest female basketball player of our time. Let me just drop three things on you, Red. In 2016, she won the WNBA championship with the Los Angeles Sparks. Then in 2021, she won a championship with the Chicago Sky. And then in 2023, just now, she won with the Las Vegas Aces. So in the last 7 years, she's won 3 chips. What do you think about that, Red?
So, look, man, we're talking about the WNBA. You cannot mention Candace Parker without the WNBA. I mean, she's, I would say, the LeBron James of the WNBA currently. And she's done it in multiple teams, you know. Yeah, man, I'm gonna be honest with you, man. I wasn't following WNBA too much this year, man. And the Aces, they pulled it off. But I should have known, right? If Candace Parker was with the Aces, wherever she was gonna land, they were gonna pull it off. That's I mean, enough said, right?
Here's the question, though. Think about it. Los Angeles Sparks. How y'all gonna let her walk away? Chicago Sky. Yo, how y'all let her walk away? And then the Las Vegas Aces. We'll see what happens. But what if you think about it, you kind of made a mistake by letting her about that building. It's almost like she's wearing out her welcome. I mean, I don't know what's going on. Maybe people just realize that she's a bargaining chip. And so you dangle that little bargaining chip out there and go younger.
How old is she? She like 30. She's in her 30s, right? 34, 36 maybe.
I'm gonna say she's in her 30s. That's what I'm gonna say. 7 years. I don't know if she played all 4. A lot of ladies don't come out as early as the guys, as you can understand. So even if she did 4 years, she would have been 22. Give her 7 years in the league, she'd be 29. And she had to go overseas a couple of years too, like Brittany Griner had to.
Yeah. So the only thing I'm thinking, man, is that, dude, maybe she's following the money. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, maybe they couldn't pay it because let's be real, right? The WNBA, the money is not there like it is in the NBA.
Yes, sir.
Just facts, right? But man, yeah, I remember her. You know, Sparks, Los Angeles. That was like put us on the map kind of for the WNBA.
No doubt.
But yeah, I mean, the Vegas, that's a good pickup for them. They knew what they were doing. I mean, look at their coach, man. She obviously knows what she's doing. She got the moves and everything. You know what I mean? So
we coming back.
She knows what she's doing. Yeah.
I know.
She knows what she's doing.
She does. So I looked it up. She's 37.
37. Okay. I was about to say 34, 36.
Yo, you spot on with the LeBron James comparison, though, because that's an old head. That's an old head in that league, in that sport. So it don't seem like she's been around. Yeah. I guess it has been about 15 years since she came in, man. I just like, it just doesn't seem that way for me.
It's been a while, man.
Okay, so you mentioned
I don't think they age right. The females in general, I don't think they age or take as much beating as the guys do in the NBA, right? So I think 37 in the WNBA is probably equivalent to, probably like I don't know, somebody like 40, 45 maybe in the NBA. I don't know. I think they're a little bit more. I just feel that they don't. I don't want to say they'll take the beating, man, but their careers start off a little bit later than the guys. They go overseas, they play those things. So it's easy for us to kind of, forget about her and kind of think how old she really is. But I mean, the only thing I can say is they got enough out of her in LA. She went to Chicago. Maybe they thought she was, towards the end of her career, but man, the WNBA is kind of like one of those things where we're still trying to figure this out, right? What is how long is she going to play for? How long do they play for? I don't know the answer to that. The NBA, it's 20 years is probably all you're going to get out of it, if you're lucky, right? But yeah, it's just hard. It's just hard. I think it's hard. The WNBA is kind of hard to. It's. I don't say it's new, but it's something that it's newer to sports, right? So we don't know what are the age requirements, how long can their bodies last, and then technology, right? It just came a long way with how they're healing and how they're taking care of their bodies nowadays. I mean, I'm sure there's some genetic stuff in there too, right? With the men and the women, but man, for her 37, she's balling, man, and she's still bringing home titles, man. That's insane, bro.
Sue Bird, if you remember, Sue Bird did it up to her 40s, and she called it quits, and she was still doing her thing all the way up until the end.
Yeah,
I think she also wanted to go do something else. To your point, they don't play 82 games like the men.
Yeah.
They play about a 28 game season. So that's a good point, sir, that it could extend their lives a little bit more. I want to get to the coach. You mentioned the coach, Becky Hammons. She was always rumored as going to be the first female coach in the NBA. She did her thing. She was at a couple places, most notably San Antonio with Popovich. But I don't know if you saw the video, but she was in full championship mode because the Aces, this is back-to-back championships for them. She was dancing. Now, the old fuddy-duddy coaches that we got in the NBA, dog, they ain't dancing, not with the flavor. Like, she was breaking it down, Red.
So that's what I was thinking, right? I was trying to compare to the NBA, and I'm like, yo, who would be getting down like that in the NBA?
Nobody.
I couldn't think of anybody, man. I couldn't think of any head coaches that currently in the NBA that would get down like that without breaking a hip or something, Not those guys, but I just don't, man. She dude, when I first seen the video, I thought she was a player. I didn't even realize it was her. I thought it was a teammate, I thought it was one of the players.
Yeah, me too. I thought the same thing, man. But she's having fun. That's the best thing about it, dog. The best thing is that she is doing a good job of embracing the players embracing her. And I don't believe there's got to be a wall. I really think that you could be one of us. You could be able to relate to them where they are. And maybe there's something to that because, she's back to back. How many dudes went back-to-back championships in the NBA? Not many.
Yeah. No, you're right, man. You're right. And it's like one of those things, right, where you kind of catch somebody, and no pun intended, just letting their hair down, right? And it just kind of, you get a little insight to, how is she with those players? How does the respect thing build? How is that culture? You kind of get a little bit. It's just a dance, right? Yes. But it lets you into a little bit more than that. And I just feel that you kind of see like, the connection is definitely there with her and her players. I don't know how old she is, or, with Candace Parker, we just found us 37. They might, who knows? They might be around the same age, but it's interesting to see her kind of get down and, just kind of, like I say, no pun intended, let her hair down a little bit. And just, it was, I just kind of, it really feels like you get an insight on what kind of a coach she is off the court, behind closed doors, and you kind of get a glimpse of that. That's how I feel anyways.
And it's the ultimate compliment that she would be a player's coach, whether it's male or female, because Cats brought her to the NBA, and that's why it was always rumored that she was going to get it. So this is just something that we see of what everyone else was seeing already. We just get
and everybody speaks highly of her. You go back to San Antonio and you talk to Pop, and you hear those interviews, and it's nothing but great and fantastic things that everybody who has ever worked with her has said nothing but great things about her. And I think she has a chip on her shoulder too, man. I think she definitely has a chip on her shoulder.
She's got something to prove. I think. I'm gonna go wreck shop in the ladies' game, and I'm gonna make y'all regret not taking me, or I'm also going to build this resume so I can launch back because the dollars are just more, man.
Yeah.
The dollars are more in the NBA, unfortunately. That may be a whole another episode. You and I could talk at length about that, about Absolutely. The equality, bring on some female athletes. We may have to do that, man. Let's put a little note on the wall about that. Speaking of so you mentioned reputation. I want to pivot to Pat Beverly. Pat Beverly called out Paolo Banchero and Franz. He said, if you got two people out of the top 100 in the league on your team, Orlando Magic, you should be winning games. He said, if you have two people who are in the top 50, you should be making the effing playoffs.
Yep.
Why are you so bad? So who is he talking about? He's talking about Banchero, power forward, and he's talking about Franz Wagner, played at Michigan, him and his brother, a small forward. I'm going to go back to recent history. The Magic are 4-4 right now out of the first 8 games. Yep. They just played on Thursday night. The Hawks and them were in Mexico City, high elevation. If you didn't know, the 1968 Olympics was there, and there was a bunch of records broke to include the long jump. The high elevation, it gets you. So Banchero dropped 17 points. He had 5 turnovers, Red. Okay. He had 8 rebounds, 4 assists, and he shot about 50% from the field. That's Banchero. Then Wagner, Franz, he played and he dropped 12 points, 3 assists, 7 rebounds, and he was just under 50% shooting. Now, so those two players, now they lost to the Hawks. It went down to a wire, dog, 120 to 119. What are your thoughts, man, about Pat Beverly and those comments about those two young players after I give you the current stats?
Yeah, so first I'm going to tell you that high altitude, it goes both ways. So that's not an excuse, right? Because
agreed.
It's everybody's dealing with that and has to embrace that. Yeah. Man, what Pat says though, man, what Bev says, I kind of got to agree with, man. You got 2 players in the top 50, man. He said within the top 100, you should be winning games. 4-4, so, they're winning some games.
To his point, in the 2021 draft out of Michigan, Wagner was picked first round. He was the 8th pick by Orlando. Yep. And then Paolo, the year after that, he was the number 1 pick overall. Dog. I mean, he's kind of right.
Yeah.
Pat Beverly gets a bad rap.
And I would say even just to take out, their picks, right, and where they were picked in the draft. If you know me, Donato, you know that where you were picked in the draft doesn't matter to me. I've seen guys that were undrafted. I've seen guys that were drafted. I've seen bust. We've seen it all. Yes. So that doesn't really hold much weight to me. But the rankings come out, and these guys are top 50. I think they're maybe even like top 30. I think like 20, 27, and maybe 34. They're under the 50 by a lot. So it's not like they just barely made the cut at 48 and 49 or something like that. I have to agree with them, man. Bev is he's in his own right a great player, but you get out there and win some games, and then you can talk. That's one thing I'm gonna say about Pat Bev, right? Like, don't worry about what everybody else is doing. You just play your game. That's my take on it. But I do have to agree with him though, man. Playoffs. Come on, man.
Yeah,
I agree. I agree with you. I agree.
So they're both 6'10". Banchero outweighs him. He's 250. Franz is a little bit lighter. He's 220. Europeans, they don't lift the weights. They don't eat as much as we do. So they are a lot more lean and mean than we are always. Although, Banchero, he reps. He went to Duke, and then, as I told you, so they're thoroughbreds, dog. They're thoroughbreds. Yeah. And because of that, the lineage, they're both averaging about 18 on the year. One's 17.9, one's 18. That's 18 apiece. They both averaging about the same amount of rebounds. 6.3 for Banchero and 5.8. That's about the same. The only difference is Banchero is just a little bit higher on field goal percentage and assist.
Okay.
Dog, they putting up good numbers. They're 2 years in the league, and if you told me that they was 18, 6, and 3, that's a good player.
That is.
I don't care what
I'll
era.
take that any day. Yeah,
No
I'll take
doubt.
that
And you
any
got
day,
2 of them.
Yeah.
So
So
4-4 though. Is it too early?
It's always too early, right? 4-4 at the beginning of the season, man. He's got, I know you already gave him excuses, high altitude and stuff, right? But we ain't cut him too much slack. But 4-4, I think you're right at 500. It's not a losing season. It's not a losing a record. So I don't. Let's see what happens. I say give him another 10 games. By the end of December, let's see where they're at, and then we can maybe continue this conversation. But I will say this though, right? Maybe the way they're being utilized, maybe the rotations, there's a lot that goes into that. When you have 2 of these guys, and these guys are, I think when Bev was asked and he was like, who are they? Like, they don't get the attention like some of the otger guys do in the NBA that we're used to getting those attention. But are they being utilized correctly? Are they? How's the rotations? I'm gonna be honest with you. I haven't watched them play. I haven't really followed them too much.
No.
Orlando is. I don't mind watching it. The Magic. They got it. They're those franchises that are up and go out of my way to go find these 2 guys.
Okay, so that is some great young talent. They're in a good place with Orlando. Try not to mess this up. Y'all had a young Shaq. Y'all had a young Penny Hardaway. I'm going to get off Orlando. I got a lot of love for Central Florida. I'm going to have a lot of listeners down there. They're going to come hunting for me out here in Texas. So I want to switch to more young talent. We're going to go even younger. I'm going back to USC out there in your neck of the woods. Ain't no East Coast bias, baby. We covering coast to coast. So USC is very popular because of not only their location being in Los Angeles, but this recruiting class, this incoming freshman class, you might have heard of 1 or 2 of the kids that they brought in. Most importantly, LeBron James's son, Bronny, is on the team. First of all, kudos to them for winning that. He could have gone to UCLA. So whatever they did, respect. What say you about Bronny James staying close to dad at USC? Do you think Bronny James stayed close to home just to be next to his dad in the familial unit? Do you think that's the reason why he chose USC?
Absolutely, man. He wants to be close to his dad. Him and his dad want to play together. Is that in the cards for him to go to LA? Is that in the cards for him to go to, when I say LA, I should say the Lakers, right? But I think a lot went into that. And I think location was probably a little bit of influence from his dad. But I would definitely, absolutely, I would speculate that had a lot to do with him going to USC. Was probably for location, being closer to his dad, making that transition easier. If let's just say he does end up going to the Lakers and plays with his dad, like LeBron wants him to do. It's just, man, when that time comes, it's no telling where those chips are going to fall, though. I think that has a lot to do. I think location has a lot to do with it, though. I think he's saying something without saying something. But I really feel this is my honest opinion. I think he's going to work something out. Let's see what kind of run the Lakers do this year. I wouldn't be surprised maybe next year if him and his dad are in Lakers uniforms. I really wouldn't. And he's right down the street, man.
So a lot of people were unhappy about their first intro. So when Bronny came out, he hit the Dougie during his intro. Do you have a problem with him coming out and hitting the Dougie? I just wanted, before you answer that, I want to say when John Wall came out of Kentucky, when he was introduced to the Washington Wizards, he did the Dougie, and everybody had drama with that. Fast forward 7-8 years later, Bronny did it. Do you have a problem with him doing the Dougie in his intro?
Man, that's a tough one, right? Because the only problem I have with it is, dude, you make some noise, come out and do something. Maybe if you go pro, right? Your first year pro, I think, is a little bit different than your debut or your intro when you're coming into college basketball. So on that aspect of it, to even compare Wall to Bronny right now, and again, going to, his intro was in the pros, right? Compared to his first year in college. I mean, it's
you seem like you're wrestling.
I just think it's a little, man. You got to earn that swag. You got to earn. I mean, you haven't proved anything yet. That's just my personal opinion, man. I do have a little bit of. I don't say he should get backlash for it. I don't think he should get criticized for it. But I do personally have a little bit of a because you ain't learned nothing yet, man. Yeah. He's probably going to do 1 year in college, right? So maybe this is one chance, right? But man, get to the league and then you can Dougie it up, man.
Okay, so at that same intro, they had a dunk contest. Brandon Gardner dunked over the USC quarterback, Heisman Award-winning Caleb Williams at the Trojan HoopLA. Brandon Gardner in this last game, they played Cal State Bakersfield, the Roadrunners. I bet you knew that, though. Did you know Cal State Bakersfield were the Roadrunners?
Absolutely.
Okay, of course he did. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
Now, this dude, Gardner, he's a forward. He only had 4 points. He only had 4 minutes, and he only had 2 points. He is a 6'8" guy, freshman out of Waynesboro, Georgia. Do you have a problem with that? The dunk contest and him dunking over the Heisman winner.
Man, that's another tough one. You kind of get like the sport enthusiast in me, and you know what I mean. I love to see it, man. Like what I mean. It's definitely entertainment. I just think at the college level, man, I just think these guys are preparing for the next level. I just think, man, especially dude, this is a Heisman. You know what I mean? Like, I guess it could have been anybody else, but because it's Caleb, it kind of rubs me a little bit more the wrong way. But I'm gonna have to resort back to my initial thing. Like, I have a problem with it, man. I think it's very unprofessional. I think it's very I don't know why Caleb put himself in that situation, but I don't know.
It's his last year.
Yeah.
At the school, he knows he's going pro, trying to get that experience. Since he's been there ain't been no excitement about USC hoops.
True.
So he's not winning a national championship.
But they have enough excitement with Bronny coming over there. I think, me personally, man, like he's kind of brought USC back to the map for basketball, for Trojan basketball, in my opinion.
So I got a little curiosity here. You were talking about someone who's new that hasn't earned it.
Sure.
Erin Matson. If you're not familiar with the name, she's the most decorated field hockey player in University of North Carolina history.
Okay.
After graduating, the Tar Heels offered her the head coaching job.
Wow.
Making her the youngest in NCAA athletics at 23 years old. Okay. Now listen to this. In her first year, she's led her former teammates to a #1 ranking and just won the ACC. Now, she ain't earned it. Brand new. What are your thoughts on her getting hired? And
I'm probably going to stay away from that one because field hockey is not my area of expertise, or am I any familiar with field hockey?
Right.
But I would say how many coaches were available for that position? I mean, did she have to fight for it? Was it like, was it just one of one? You know what I mean? Like,
she came to the interview with her hockey stick.
Yeah. Maybe her interview was just highlight reels or something. You know what I mean? Yeah. And she won the job. I mean, she's doing something right. So, I mean, they made that decision. She hasn't proved herself. I mean, maybe on the field she has, but as a coach, it's definitely different, right? And a lot of people can't make that transition from player to coach, especially in such a short amount of time, or with just a collegiate level, experience. So I'm going to have to go back to it, man. I don't think she earned it, but she might have proved me wrong if they won the title or they won the championship. I mean, hey, I've been proved wrong. I might have been proved wrong right now.
I'm a little curious. Have you seen the picture, the old time picture of, let's say it's 8 years old, of Michael Jordan? He's got his hand up and he's got all his rings on. Have you seen that picture?
Of course.
Okay. And then Brady did it, and Brady's got his pictures, his rings. Now, Leo Messi just did it, and he's got more rings than everybody.
He has some toe rings.
The way those feet probably look after kicking all those balls, yo, I don't think he could put a ring on it.
You're probably right.
So, is he gonna be the greatest in our generation of athlete since he's got more rings? Are we judging? Do you judge it off of rings or impact? What do you judge?
So we're talking about soccer, right? And how international soccer is, and there's been a big move from soccer coming to the U.S., right? It's been big, including Messi, right? So I think to ask your question, I think he definitely falls into that category of one of the best athletes of our time because of the international and the exposure they get. Soccer is, here in America, we don't look at soccer as big as it is. We kind of frown on that, and we don't even call it football for what they know it as, right? Football, right? We call it soccer. But the international impact that thing has had, I think you have no doubt, but to give that credit to probably one of the best athletes in our generation. I would definitely say hands down. Just me being, been stationed overseas and been able to see, some European football and how these fans are, and like it's such on an international stage that I would have to say. So, the NFL, right? They're going overseas. They're doing the games in Germany. They got the London thing. The NBA, they got their ties with other countries. But nothing is as big as soccer or football, man. Like nothing is as big as that. So I have to say, man, I think with Lionel Messi, I want to say, and I'll stand by that he definitely is one of the biggest athletes of our generation.
It's hard. It's hard to argue with the production. No one has won the Ballon d'Or's trophy is 5 times, and he's won it 8. So the proof is in the pudding. Okay, I got to go to this next thing. Stephen A. Smith said his top 5 NBA players of all time: Michael Jordan, LeBron James, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Magic Johnson, and Bill Russell. What I want to ask you is, who you taking out?
Man.
3 of them are Lakers.
Yeah.
You taking out the Celtics guy?
Like instinct wise, right? I want to, but I can't, I would I'm a Kobe guy, man. I would have to take but it would be kind of biased of me to throw, and I'm a Lakers fan, so it would be biased of me to throw another Laker in there, so to say, as far as Kobe. But
let me tell you why I brought this up to you, Big Red, because I'm trying to cause drama. I thought you was gonna take the Celtic guy out, but I just want to say he's got 11 rings, 11 championships. That's why I put this right after the previous conversation point, to see if I could catch you up. What say you did?
So, Donato, who am I to argue with Stephen A. Smith, right? Who am I to argue? Like, it doesn't matter what I say, right? I mean, I can argue, I can disagree, but let's be honest. Like Stephen A. Smith, he's not some guy walking out of the park. He's not like that guy. That guy knows what he's talking about most of the time, right? Like sometimes it's some outrageous stuff or he sparks. He says things just to kind of get a response, but. I wrote this down as you said it, man. And as much as I would, I'm a Kobe fan, man. I grew up watching Kobe, even Shaq for that matter, man. And I think it would be a little bit biased of me to try to sneak one of those in there and take somebody out. I'm gonna have to concur. I think that list is top 5. I think that list it passes the test for me, and I can't argue with it.
Yeah, that's tough. So then I want to talk to you, since we're talking lists. This is something that some people care about, not a lot to do. I wanted to do this with you. Freaking dudes every way like MJ messed around and had a triple-double. Those are lyrics from Ice Cube. Today was a good day.
Mm-hmm.
I say that because Jokic has just passed LeBron for the fourth most triple doubles in NBA history. And he did it in 813 less games.
Yeah.
Less. Now, he moves up to fourth all time in the career list. He still has to pass Magic Johnson. Magic Johnson has 138. He's got to pass the big O, Oscar Robertson. Remember, he was the first person to ever average it for a season.
Okay.
And Oscar Robertson has 181. And then Westbrook has 198, and he's the leader. What do you think about Jokic and what we're seeing out of the big man and that company that he is in right now when it comes to triple doubles?
So there's a lot of talk. There's a lot of talk on Jokic right now, and just if his passion is in the NBA, and there's. But I think that was answered. As soon as the season started, I think there was a lot of doubt. So if you would have asked me this before the season started, I would have said he's not catching. He's definitely not catching Russell Westbrook, right? He's not going to catch that. But I seen this guy come out, man, after winning a championship. Going away where he went, probably didn't touch a basketball all off season, right? And people question his passion for the game, and man, that dude came back and it didn't even skip a beat, man. So with what I've seen at the beginning of the season, man, and what I've seen the production out of him, and what he has around him, and what a young team they are, what a well coached team they are, I think, man, You're giving me some good. You're giving me some tough ones today, Donato. Like this is it's hard, man. It's hard to say, but I would tell you this. I did doubt it coming out of the championship, coming into the preseason and all this stuff. I kind of had my doubts because I kind of followed everybody and I kind of listened to I listened to a lot of the doubters and stuff, but seeing that guy come out, man, and what he's done so far, like it's like he hasn't skipped a beat, man. He's definitely on track to break some records, and he's done it in such. I mean, like you talked about, LeBron James 813 games less. What was that number?
813 games less.
Yeah,
than it took.
That's insane, man. That's a lot of games. That's a lot of triple doubles left out there. And if I were to, do the math and find out how many games he's played and where he's at right now and how many, and average how much he needs to get to where he's at, I'm sure there's some mathematical equation that we can do, but just off of instinct alone, I think I see him finishing top 3. I don't know if he's going to catch Westbrook. And who was before Westbrook? Was that Oscar? Who was before Westbrook?
Right before Westbrook was the big O, Oscar Robertson.
And what was his number?
He's got 181.
And then Westbrook is at 190 something?
198.
And then what's the gap between who's the one right before? Who's in the third right now?
Magic Johnson with 138.
Ooh, I put him past Magic. I don't know if I got him past Oscar. That's a big number, man. And there's a gap there too between Magic and Oscar. There's a gap there. I see him settling in there. I see him passing up Magic, though. Me personally, with those numbers and what I've seen with him coming into this year, the guy hasn't skipped a beat, man. And look at his position, man. I mean, that we've never seen a big guy that can pass like that. So those assists are definitely helping him out. And look at his position, right? He's able to block shots. He's in the paint. He's gonna get his points. He's gonna average double digit points almost every game. His assists and his blocking. His rebounding, like he's in that position in the NBA to where he definitely can do some damage on them with those triple doubles as we've seen. That's 198, 18. That's a lot, man, to catch up to, man.
Red, I want to leave you with this as we transition. He's only 28 years old.
Yep.
8 years in the league. Right now, he's number 2 in the NBA in rebounding with 12.9. He's number 6 in the NBA in points with 29.
Yeah.
And he's number 7 in the NBA in assists.
Yeah.
He's averaging 8. That's more than some starting guards on other.
You don't see those numbers in you know what I mean?
Nah, bro.
You don't, like, in 3 categories. So those triple doubles are gonna stack up. That's an up here. I mean, that's a lot of moment. That's a lot of ground to cover between now. He's 28. Let's give him maybe 8 more years, maybe.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
man, if Denver stays healthy and Denver kind of keeps the team around him, yeah, I mean, I might have to I might rebuttal one day. I might rebuttal in a couple of years, and you know, after this, maybe even after the season. Let's see what he does this season. But the way I'm looking with those numbers right now, it just seems like that's a steep hill to climb. I do foresee him in the next 6 to 8 years finishing his career, definitely passing up Magic. As hard as it is for me to say that, but I do see him at least passing up Magic.
All right, so we were talking about coaching earlier. We're going to switch to the NFL. We're going to talk about the Raiders.
All right.
This is a quote. They got the Raiders uniform. Them guys bust their tails. If you're on the team, you're part of the team. You're there on game day. Unquote. That's Raiders head coach Antonio Pierce on allowing practice players on sidelines for games. Yo, Red, you ain't never seen that before.
Never.
Don't nobody put the practice squad. Like if you and I was on a practice squad, you couldn't tell us nothing. We'd be excited to be making our little $80,000, $100,000 a year. But you and I would be happy. We ain't got to dress for game day.
Yeah.
They beat up on us during the week.
The best seats in the house.
No doubt. But this dude said what I read. What are your thoughts on that?
Oh man. There's a lot of distraction already on the sidelines, right? With coaches, trainers, they had to put up this tent. I mean, and you're already Vegas, right? All the attention is out. I understand where he's coming from, and I respect it. If I'm on the practice squad, of course, I'm gonna say all day, like that's the greatest idea. Why didn't we think about this? Why is he the first one to think about this? But I just imagine how much of a distraction that could be, and how crowded it can be. How many actually practice players are there? The roster set up with your practice team, maybe about another 40 guys. Is that?
Yeah,
something like that. So that's a. I mean, you said they wouldn't be dressed; they just kind of be out there and like I'm assuming just street clothes or something out there. I like where he's coming. I like the culture, right? I like the change. And if I'm a practice guy, that's gonna give me motivation to get out there. If I'm a guy that's struggling for a position, whether I'm on the starting lineup or not, I see that practice guy right there behind me, knowing at any time he can suit up and take my position. I think it adds a lot to the mental side of it and kind of pushes. But I just think it's a lot of distraction. And will the NFL even go for that? I think that's the biggest question too. That the injuries, we see it all the time, man. Players, coaches, referees, camera guys. There's a lot of action. It kind of it just. Do you want to put your guys in that position? A lot of distraction.
I looked it up. I didn't know this. It's only 16 guys on the practice squad.
It's only 16. Okay, when they actually go from their full roster to the 16.
Yes, sir. I'm shocked.
That kind of changes things for me then.
Yeah.
16 is you can get rid of a couple of those water people and they'll bring your practice guys in there or make them maybe give them a job or something to do. Maybe you can validate it like that. But I think the bigger story here is that culture, though, of, hey, I want to bring my practice guys up there. One, it's saying, like you said earlier, if I'm a practice guy, first of all, I got the best seats in the house, right? And then I feel a little bit appreciated, right? And then I'm right there. I'm on the field seeing what's going on. I'm in those huddles hearing what they're going on. I'm hearing those adjustments. I'm in the locker room at halftime. I don't know where they're at throughout the game. Normally, I doubt they're in the locker rooms waiting. So I think it's, if you think about it, right, from a coach's standpoint or from a player standpoint, the developmental part of that is they're gonna get like some in-game, as we call it in non football field, on hands training, right, or on hand what do you call it, on the job training.
Yep.
Yeah, you're gonna get that every week, man. 16 guys. Hey, if the NFL allows it to do it, I think it's genius, man. It's kind of like we had preseason, right? And I think I forgot which team it was. One of the head coaches, it might have been who was it, man? There was one of the coaches who was like, you know what? Preseason is for the players, but they allowed their assistant coach to come out and take over the head coaching game I think in the first 2 preseason games, or maybe it was the last 2 preseason games.
Yeah.
But it's like one of those things where people are shaking up the NFL and doing different things, and just to see how things work. It might have been Andy Reid, actually. I don't know if it was Andy Reid. One of the head coaches this year actually brought some of their assistant coaches up to let them coach a game, or let them, fill in the head coach position for a game or two, or a half of a game or something like that in preseason. And I thought it was genius. It makes so much sense to me.
Yeah, it does.
To have those guys, and they don't get that experience. Same thing with your practice squad guys. Get them out there, get them on the sideline, hear those huddles, hear those things they're talking about, get them in the locker room, those halftime, second half adjustments, those huddles that you get into, how fast the game really is, how calls are being called in. I mean, it's genius if you think about it, man. 16 guys, I'm for it. 16 guys isn't much. They got so many guys running around out there with between the medical staff and people giving water and towels and stuff like that. 16 guys, you won't even notice it on an NFL sideline, in my opinion. It's only gonna benefit those guys.
I want to stay with the NFL. This will be the last topic, and then we're gonna switch. We're gonna finish up with the little NBA top 5. I'm gonna start from number 5. Passers. Jalen Hurts, 2,347 yards.
Okay.
Above him, number 4, Josh Allen.
Okay.
With 24-23. Above him, you might know the name, Patrick Mahomes, 24-42. So he's just 19 yards more than Josh Allen. Okay. Not a lot, right?
Not a lot.
Number 1 is Tua, and you know that they've been putting it down over there in Miami.
Who was number 2?
Exactly. I'm going to say the name. Tell me if you know him. Sam Howell.
Okay. All right.
Is that a shock or what? So the question is, are you shocked that number 2, your question, who's number 2? Sam Howell. Now that you know who it is that a valuable question? Who's number 2? What?
Yeah, that's your boy, right?
I cannot confirm nor deny. I like good football.
Okay.
But what I will say
I like how you dodged that. Okay.
I had no idea until it hit me the other day. Now, Tua is far and away 3 out of those 4 guys are in the 2400s. Jalen Hurts he's not quite at 2400 yet. He's about 50 yards from that. And Tua's got 2,600. So Tua is in another stratosphere right now. Yeah. But I didn't know that, man. That's got to be the best I've seen a player play that's been under the radar. Let me just remind you of this. He's 23 years old. He was just drafted in 2022. These are his first games in his career. He came out of University of North Carolina. We talked about them earlier for them hiring that coach. He is the same age as the field hockey coach at UNC.
23, right?
That's it.
Yeah.
So what do you think, man? A 23-year-old, like, do we have to redefine what we think of young players?
I don't think so, man. So this is my opinion. It's only my opinion. I have to get that disclaimer out there right now. When you get these guys who come in, whether it's an injury, whether it's a first-year guy, there's no film on them. These defensive coordinators get paid a lot of money. And that's embarrassing that you got this 23-year-old second year where he's drafted in 22.
Yes, sir.
So he didn't play 22. I'm sure he might have got a couple,
one game.
Okay. So for all intents and purposes, his first year coming in, like, that's embarrassing, man. If I'm a defensive coordinator, like, if this guy smokes me and puts up 400 yards on me and my defense, they're going to hear about it. I guarantee the next time they play me, he's probably getting half of that. So I just think it's just an adjustment. I think once defensive coordinators figure this out, and just like me right now, in shock, just like you were in shock, when the next team they play starts preparing for that, and that defensive coordinator hears his name and here's what he's doing, I guarantee they're going to adjust. They're going to make some adjustments, and I don't think he holds that number 2 spot as we continue out through the season. There's just too many more experienced quarterbacks out there. I don't see him holding that number 2 spot for much longer. Top 5. Damn, man, number 2. Josh Allen.
Okay, then let me throw one more thing to you because I want to smoke that brain one more time. I heard what you just said, sir. But last week he beat Bill Belichick.
Everybody's beating Bill Belichick this year.
yo, I'm gonna distribute this up in Boston. Yo, come on.
It's nothing they haven't heard.
Okay, so this week they're going up against Pete Carroll and the Seattle Seahawks. So it's in Seattle.
Man. So they're in Seattle?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so weather-wise, is Seattle has a dome?
No, they just out there in the element.
They don't, but weather should be decent. I have to look at the weather, man.
Yeah.
If it's throwing weather,
after that,
I don't know. I don't have the numbers. I don't have the numbers of front of me. Oh yeah, all right, man. So don't make me retract my statement, man.
Two more games.
The next 2 games, he probably get 400 yards in both of those. Yeah, he can probably get 400 yards in both those games. After I just said that.
I know.
Yeah, I guess you kind of got me on the spot. I need to look at his schedule. I need to see who he's playing. But yeah, just going off of that, the Seahawks and then going to the Giants. He's gonna get 400 yards in each game. 350. I give him 350 in both of those games.
I wanted this topic with you because in 5 games he plays the LA Rams, and 2 games after that he plays the 49ers. Okay. On New Year's Eve, he's gonna play the Niners.
Okay.
Big Red. If he throws for over 300 yards against the Niners, you got to come back on this podcast and you got to say hail to the Commanders.
Come on, Red. Easily take that bet. No problem.
Whoa, you got that much confidence?
He ain't getting 3. He ain't getting 300. We just got Chase Young. Come on, man.
Can't nobody else stop him, but you think y'all can?
Yeah. Like I said, this is the NFL. These defensive coordinators get paid a lot of money to stop these guys. He's not gonna sit up there long. I mean, the next 2 games, I'll give him 350. I'll give him 350 yards for those 2 games. Giants and the Seahawks. Yeah, I think he'll get those. Are they playing in New York?
No, it's a home game against New York, and for the Niners, it's another home game. The Niners got to travel across country.
It doesn't matter.
For a 12 o'clock noon game. They're going to be jet lagged.
It doesn't matter.
Okay, all right.
Jet lag or not, it doesn't. We can play in London. It doesn't matter, man.
Bro, it's New Year's Eve.
We can go to Mexico with that high elevation. It ain't going to matter.
New Year's Eve, San Fran, they want to get back and party, have a little New Year's. They mad because they're going to miss fireworks.
No, they lost 3 in a row. They're focused. They're not thinking about partying. They're not thinking about New Year's Eve. They're thinking about making a playoff run right now. That's what they're thinking about. They're thinking about winning out for the rest of the season. They're not thinking about that.
I thought I could shake your confidence there. Okay.
Nah, ain't gonna happen.
All right. So then I want to come into wait. This last thing. I can't forget the last point. Yeah. Okay. That was it. That was it. I was gonna go back in on the Niners because I wanted you. Okay, I'm just gonna do it, man.
Go ahead. That door's open. Go ahead.
So when they get done playing Washington, the Niners have to play Los Angeles. So the battle of SoCal and NorCal.
Yeah.
I gotta do this, and this will be distributed in California. Who's winning the battle of NorCal and SoCal?
Are you seriously asking me that? Did I just say they're going to win out? They're focusing on winning out for the rest of the season?
I asked the question, sir. I just need you. I want to know what that answer is. I want to have that on record.
SoCal, NoCal, they're going to take it. Look, I'm a Southern California guy,
yes, sir.
Which but yeah, I'm going to have to root for the Northern California team, which is my team, the 49ers.
Okay.
LA's not. Sorry, man.
I just want to corner you on that one.
Yeah.
So those are 2 things right there. I want you to say hail to the Commanders
2 for 2
after your boys get lit up. And then if Los Angeles pulls that off, and right now that's a to be determined time for that game. So of course, when they made the schedule, they thought it was going to be a big time game to watch. But okay, you sound pretty confident about those 2. All right, let's move on. I'm gonna keep it in LA, but we're going back to the NBA as I told you to finish this thing up.
Okay.
Will James Harden work in Los Angeles? That's the question. And I just want to give you something because as it happened, they played tonight. They played tonight against the Dallas Mavericks, and that will be our last topic of the episode. This has been great, by the way, Red. They lost to Luka Doncic tonight, 144 to 126. Now, James Harden said he left Philly because he said he couldn't do his thing there.
Yep.
Red, he came to a team that's got Kawhi Leonard, Russell Westbrook, and Paul George. What thing did he think he was going to be able to do there as the second question? First question, will Harden work in LA? I got stats for tonight's game if you're curious, but I want to know your answer. Will he work in Los Angeles?
It depends if he's willing to accept his role. If he's willing to accept his role as he has to give up some points and not be the superstar, right? And we hear this all the time when you get these teams that are stacked, right? And understanding that points distribution, you're not going to get the points that you need. But if his sole purpose is to go there to win a championship or to be a good team player, maybe a mentor, he's an older guy now. Well, nah, he's not old. I mean, you got Paul George over there. You got some older guys over there. It's pretty much, they probably got like 2 years to probably pull something off if they're going to do something. I just think if he knows his role, it comes down to him understanding that if he knows what his role is going to be and what role he's going to play. And then also, man, imagine being a coach for that kind of talent and trying to distribute that out. And, fourth quarter, games on the line, who's taking that shot? You're down 1 point, 3 seconds left. Who do you go to? You know what I mean? Like I would hate to be that coach, man, and have that many superstars on my team. It's probably a lot to deal with. And we all know from years, James Harden is he can be difficult to deal with. I think. But I think it takes a special coach, first of all. Secondly, he needs to know his role. And then third of all, he needs to understand what he's coming there to do. If he's coming there to win a championship or he's coming there for his stats.
You being a nice guy, Red. Why you being that? Ain't nobody considering Russell Westbrook to be that last shot. Wait a minute.
Hey, but that's a strategy because nobody's expecting. I know. Look, Lakers, Westbrook, all I've seen that guy play, man. Like I never put. I think. Now the other question, right? And this is a question to you, right? With Westbrook coming over there, how do you think he's going to do? Me personally, I think he's this is a chance for him to revive himself and kind of prove himself kind of year for him. Yeah. I think he's kind of had like LA it's a tough crowd, man. Being in LA, but I think Westbrook, man, like I've seen what he can do, man. Let me stop answering the question. The question to you, right, is how do you think Westbrook is gonna handle this? What do you think Westbrook's numbers are gonna look like?
I think he's gonna fit in. To your point, you were asking about their ages. They're all about the same.
Yeah. When I said that, I kind of answered that. I was like, yeah, they're not. He's not.
They're all right in. Paul George is 33. Kawhi is 32. James Harden is 34, so he's the old guy, and Russell Westbrook is 34. So those are the two old guys. So they're right guys, about.
You got to worry about if they stay healthy, man. You know what I mean? That's a lot of especially with Kawhi. I mean, there's injuries on there. There's guys that have fought through injuries, and we know how that can change a season. But the good thing about it is one guy gets injured, the next guy steps in, and you know what I mean, somebody can fill that role. It's a good problem to have.
It is. It is. So they got blown out tonight. That wasn't even close. Even they outscored Dallas in that final quarter, but I'm sure that was just replacement. Yeah. They outscored Dallas 29-37. But what got away from them was right before the half. I don't know if Dallas played defense, but Dallas scored 47 points in the second quarter, and the Clippers only got 18, bruh. Yeah. And that's the decider right there. So
the other thing too is like I talked about knowing your role, but also figuring like learning to play with each other, learning to play together. So right now we might look and say that, but it's a long season, man. There's a lot of games. There's a lot of practice still. I don't count them out, man. That's a heavy lineup, man. That's a definitely a good lineup. Yeah. Now again, your coaches, right? The coach is gonna have to really figure this out, man. The rotations, who's getting that last shot, egos aside. There's a lot to figure out, and I feel sorry for that coach, man.
So one last thing on the Clippers, they're 0-5 away. With that many veterans, how they can't win a road game? They are 0-5 away.
That is crazy because there's a lot of veterans on there, and those guys should know how to play away games and be able to put that thing away.
Preparing yourself, they not out in the streets. Or they know how to recover if they out in the streets.
Yeah. And a lot of these guys, this might be their last chance. You know what I mean? For a lot of these guys.
Yeah, they just didn't have the legs tonight. They went 8 for 27 on 3. That's about 29%. I just don't know what happened.
What was Harden's stats like? How many points did he have?
So Harden
and minutes.
Harden had 14 points. He had 2 steals, 3 assists, and 5 rebounds. And he shot 50%. He only took 6 shots.
Okay.
And what I think is because it got ugly, it got away from them so early. I think that was it. He only played 29 minutes. Westbrook only played 20. Kawhi only played 29, and George played 23.
Okay.
So, all right. So to finish this off, we were talking about we said some things tonight. Yo, we just giving our opinions, man. We fans, yo. Dallas Maverick player. His name is Grant Williams. He came over from Boston in that trade. He trolls his city by wearing the Jason Kelce jersey. He is a Mavericks forward. He's an Eagles fan. And he wore a Kelly Green Jason Kelce jersey before the team's home game against the Charlotte Hornets on Sunday night. And if you remember, Sunday was when the Eagles beat the Cowboys. Mm-hmm. Bro, you just got to town. You're new to Dallas, and you're going to troll the city like that?
Yeah, he got a target on his back, man. He better hire some security. He better get some security or something, man. That's kind of you're putting yourself out there, man.
So I wanted to finish up by talking about that and him tonight. He plays for the Mavericks. I just told you they won, and they blew out the Clippers. He got 16 minutes. He only scored 2 points, 2 rebounds, 1 assist. Yeah, you were saying that sometimes you got to show a little respect to the game.
Absolutely.
Respect to the franchise that brought you there, the fans. Do you have a problem with him doing that to the Dallas fans? Because you know they did not appreciate that.
When you put up 2 points, I have a problem with it.
I knew you were. I wanted you to know that.
Now, if you put up 40 points, man, do your thing. You know what I mean? Back it up. You're going to talk the talk, walk the walk. You know, but 2 points, come on, man.
If you're going to poke the bear.
Yeah. Put the honey on the bear.
Red, this was awesome, dude. We are definitely going to do this again. I'm going to have new topics. We're going to have new takes. And if anybody wants to follow you, you got any social media you want to throw out there? Any parting shots that you want to offer the listeners?
Man, so the only parting shots I'm gonna offer is not really a shot, but as you can see, man, I'm repping the Army shirt as we go into Veterans Day this weekend. I know you served, I served, we served together. So hey, I just want to give a big shout out, man, to all those veterans that have served from one vet to another. Thanks for your service as we celebrate this Veterans Day. We're on Friday today. Veterans Day is tomorrow. But like I say, man, I'm representing it. And thanks for your service too, Donato. We served together, man. So for all those vets out there, man, the parting words I would like to say is Happy Veterans Day. Thank you for your service.
Well, sir. Well said, sir. Thank you for your service. That is Big Red. I'm Donato. We were talking with Donato, and we got that sports fix in. We'll talk to you guys later. Like, subscribe, share, and then we'll get to you the next time. Y'all have a good one.